What makes Indian cinema the country's greatest soft power? As we celebrate 100 glorious years of Indian cinema, what is going to come in the next 100 years? Well, to discuss all of that and much, much more, we have an absolute powerhouse panel this evening of the country's most talented filmmakers. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce Karan Johar, Zoya, Akhtar, Anurag Kashyap and Dibakar Banerjee. Now, the four of you are also... Now, the four of you are also collaborating on a very interesting project, Bombay Talkies. All of you have done 20-minute to 30-minute short films. What was the most challenging aspect of doing a project like this? Karan, if you'd like to start off.
The budget. Most definitely for me, it was the budget. We were all given 1.5 crores each to make this short film. And brevity and budget have never been my strengths. So I found this stat to be the most, I would say, the biggest impediment in my path was the budget. To manage the budget and make it happen was a big challenge.
And did you also feel you were the odd one out in this group, in a sense, with your lavish canvases and your sort of steeped in Bollywood style?
Yeah, well, in a sense, the syntax and tonality of my films have been very different. And I'm using these big words only to make my cinema seem more prolific than it is. But actually, I did initially feel like I would have probably ruined the pot of filmmakers. But eventually, that was the reason why I took it on, is like, you know, to kind of blend and enhance my own craft in the bargain.
But Zoya, it seems to me that the choice of subjects, particularly complex, difficult ones, whether it was your film about a young boy approaching his gender, his identity, also wanting to be, in a sense, Katrina Kaif, difficult to explore in that 20-minute format, or did you take them on for a particular reason?
Actually, it was a script that Rima and me had written many years ago, over a decade ago, and it was a little film called Zoom Zoom Darling, and it was written as a short. And so this was the perfect opportunity to make it. Of course, the thing is, when you make a short and you like it and you make it and you put it out there, it's fine. But the thing here was, what was challenging for me was, because it's somehow has to be a tribute to cinema, and it has to have the cinema angle in it, and therefore do justice to that, and you know, just move you in some way. You know, it just can't be a little film that you wanted to make and it was edgy and you made it. It had to integrate cinema in it, and it had to move you in a particular way. And that was challenging for me. So I don't
was it the same for you when you approached something as daunting as 100 years of cinema in a celebration or a tribute to that?
I was not approaching it like that, in the sense I saw it as an opportunity to make a film that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I had written a short story a long time back called Hum Bhi Allahabad Se, and that's what I wanted to make, and this became an opportunity. The difficult part was shooting on the streets outside, in the sense I had to make this film with Mr. Bachchan's house, because that's the main key character in the film, and it's right at the crossing, and we were not allowed to stop or block the traffic. So shooting with cameras kept only on the pavements.
And on a 6 crore budget.
On a 1.5 crore budget.
Oh, it was 6 crores for all of you.
All of us, on a 1.5 crore budget. I'm shooting
you
like
thought
that.
we were rich.
Well, clearly I was wrong. Divakar, you in fact actually took up one of my favorite Shotajit Rai's stories, Potter Babu film star, but you also localized it completely and gave it that kind of Marathi flavor.
Yes, because there was no way I could do a film based on Calcutta in the 60s or based on Calcutta in any period and make it realistic, because I don't know Calcutta, because I've grown up in Delhi and I've worked in Bombay. So that's completely alien. And the kind of films that I make, unfortunately, knowledge of the local is very necessary for me to say something universal. So that's why I had to adapt it. And of course, I've been obsessed by where I live and my building.
Yes.
And these guys keep making fun of me.
But Dibakar lives in a building which is like which
is the microcosm of the universe for me.
And it answers every question, every dilemma we have.
Anything that ever comes up, it's come up in every interview. The answer lies in Dibakar's
in the building.
And in the area where I live, because I live in a high-rise apartment, semi-luxury apartment in the old mill area of Bombay.
There's always a crisis in the country when Dibakar has left the building.
Well, let's hope he doesn't leave this building too soon, at least not before we finish discussing all aspects. But I think it's interesting that you bring up spaces, and in a sense, cities? Because, you know, your cinema has been so much about realities outside of Bombay as well. You know, making cities almost a character in your films. Do you believe that, in a sense, you're almost setting the agenda for the new Indian cinema, whether it's characters on the margins, on the peripheries, gritty realities, smaller towns, badlands of India, perhaps even urban dystopias? But do you believe that, in a sense, you're setting the agenda for sort of all filmmakers?
I don't know. I've started exploring smaller towns only now, even though I am from one. Because my initial films are all about, I was so awed by the city, and that my films were about that.
Bombay.
Black Friday or Bombay, I was so awed by
Delhi,
it.
no?
Panch was, and Devdi was Delhi, and that Paharganj thing. So you see that. One thing, definitely my films have always been about exploring a kind of a ghetto, subculture, something that does exist, but we don't talk about it.